Guys, who are some of the scariest UFC fighters? Okay, we're going to be looking at these guys, and we're going to be ranking them accordingly. You know, this is in honor of October, because we're officially in, the spooky season, and I thought, why not make a video like this where we kind of look at some scary UFC fighters? And what do I mean when I say scary? Well, you'll get the gist when I start ranking these guys, but we're not doing it only because, maybe a guy like Ilia Topuria, you could say he's scary because he's knocking people out cold, and I don't want to glaze Ilia here, but he is kind of a scary guy. But does he look the part? Would you get scared if you saw Ilia Topuria walking down the street? You'd probably say, well, who's this guy? So you wouldn't necessarily be scared. Whereas with these guys, you're gonna kind of be scared, and you might be shitting your pants low key if you see these guys. So we got a couple categories here, and we're gonna start with the he's harmless category, right? Just to give you guys an example of somebody who, you meet these guys and you go, oh, well, this guy's harmless. What do you mean this guy's a UFC fighter? This guy fights in the UFC? And I'm pretty sure some of us might already know who's going in there first. We got Sean O'Malley. Okay, so Sean O'Malley, this guy, you meet this guy, you're like, what are you, like a SoundCloud rapper, or what do you do? Oh, you streamer? You're a streamer? You don't go, this guy's a badass striker, this guy can beat anybody up on the feet, he's, badass, scary. You don't look at this guy like he's scary, okay? Nobody's looking at him. Sure, maybe he could be scary in the sense that he's scaring away the hose, right? He's scaring away the hose. He might be, start yapping about something, start yapping about the new COD that's releasing or something like that. But other than that, this guy's harmless. He couldn't hurt a fly. You're not worried about Sean O'Malley too much. But let's move on to somebody who belongs in the try-hard category. Okay, so this guy, they're scary. They're scary looking. They're scary, whatever in their behavior, but they're try-hards, right? They're try-harding. It's obvious that they're trying a little too hard. And we're going to do Khamzat Chimaev in the try-hard category because this guy, sure, he might have, scary grimace. He's scary. But in reality, you can tell this guy, you might giggle, you might laugh at him when he's doing this little funny face because look, he's try-harding, he's clip farming, he's trying to get people to make TikToks about him saying, holy shit, Khamzat's scary as hell, man. This guy, did you see what he did? He had a freaking scary face. No one thinks you're that scary, bro. Like, I'm sorry, sure, he's tossing people around in the octagon like a potato sack. The local bum from across the street, he might be tossing, and he'll get into a street fight with them. But other than that, this guy's not too scary when you see the common cold's taking him out, and you don't even have to worry about fighting this guy. Sure, he could beat you up in a fight, but listen, you just you give him a cold and he's done for. He's done for 6 months. He's out of commission. You could pretty much, I hate to say it, but you could end this guy's career with a little bit of COVID. It's over for him forever, and I hate to say it. I do hate to say it because I'm sure Khamzat's a good guy or whatever, but dude, he's a bit of a tryhard when it comes to this scary shit. Okay, I hate to say that, but he's a bit of a tryhard. Let's move on to, we'll do underratedly scary. Listen, we're gonna do Tony Ferguson in the underratedly scary tier, okay? Because Tony, I know we're thinking, Tony, dude, this guy's been beat up by, the whole lightweight division. He just gets passed around at lightweight. He's a free, name on your legacy, right? Like Paddy Pimblett. Oh, he beat Tony Ferguson. It's a free name. It's a free name at this point. If you're beating Tony Ferguson, it's just, you kind of scoff at it. You see, oh, you beat Tony Ferguson. Okay, well, if you lose to him, it's kind of embarrassing. And I don't even want to be the guy to go like, prime Tony was a different beast. But listen, even now, he is kind of scary. Just look at that face. Something is not going on in his head. That there's something missing in his head. He's got a couple screws loose. And honestly, I hate to say it, but he's borderline scary. Like, he is underratedly scary in the sense that people will look at him and they'll be like, oh, this guy's harmless. He belongs in a retirement home. But first of all, the stuff that he does outside the octagon, beating his wife and all this stuff, this weird stuff that he does, that adds to it. But also, you can't tell me if you meet this guy, you're kind of going to be scared to, you'll shake his hand, but at any moment he could just flip on you. He could think that, you're making fun of him, and he'll all of a sudden he'll call you a scumbag, he'll, curse you out, and he'll genuinely have like a grudge against you. Because this guy, he holds a grudge like no other. He literally doesn't understand sarcasm. He doesn't understand humor. He doesn't understand if you're being nice or if you're trying to poke fun of it at him. So that's the problem with Tony, and that's why he's kind of scary, because he's a bit of a nutcase. So he belongs on a tier like underratedly scary, and we're gonna put in our scary tier. We're gonna put Alex Pereira. Okay, he's not blood curdling. You're not blood curdling when you see this guy, just because you've seen him when he has, outside of fight week, when he has the hair and when he's, saying chama and he's giving, he's fist bumping you and he's hanging out with his boy Paulinho Cruz and he has a little comedy skit with Sean Strickland. He's a nice guy. You know that he's a nice guy. And I'm sure that if you're in public, you're not going to be like, oh, who's this guy? Even if you don't know anything about the sport, you'll probably say, well, that guy looks like a friendly guy, because he does look friendly. It's just when it comes to fight week, and especially this picture right here, when he was at middleweight, he looks scary, okay? He looks scary. He's, he no longer is the Mr. Friendly guy who's going to, rub shoulders with you. He's a different animal, right? He becomes a different animal, and you'll hear Joe Rogan talking about this guy like he's Thanos. And it's kind of true. He does become like a villain almost during fight week, and it's scary to see. He does do a good job transitioning into that little role that he plays. But listen, we're gonna put him in the scary category. I don't think he's blood curdling just because of the the clips we've seen of him outside the octagon and stuff. But listen, we're gonna get his opponent here, and can you guess where he is going? His opponent, Khalil Rountree. We're going to put him in the try-hard category, because look, Khalil, sure, he could be scary, and he can, go out there in the octagon and try to end your career, right? He's kind of, in my eyes, Khalil, sure, he might cry on the Joe Rogan podcast, and, he's a super cool guy. But listen, he's a bit of a scumbag in the octagon, right? He's, like, chopping at your quads and at your, what's it called? Oh, like oblique kicks and stuff. And he's trying to end your career. He doesn't care. This guy will happily, snap your heel in half and just, laugh it off and go, oh, let's go, I got the win. But in reality, this guy's a bit of a, he's a bit of a douchebag in my eyes, right? I hate to say it, And he's a try-hard also when it comes to the scary stuff, like this picture specifically, and all the cool pictures that he has. He's bloodied up. And he's trying to act like, I'm a killer. I'm a straight killer, even though I'm getting knocked out by, half of the light heavyweight division. But I'm a straight killer, bro. You put me in there against anybody, I'm going to go in there and massacre them. He's not that scary. He might even be less scary than Khamzat. So he's going to go in the try-hard category, especially because, on the outside, he's a big fluffy guy, right? In his heart, he's a big fluffy guy. I meant to say on the inside, right? On the inside, he's a big fluffy guy, and he's just... you can tell he's probably, he's not too scary. He's not too scary. We're going to put him in the try-hard category. And who are we going to put in the underratedly scary category? Which, this is surprising because he's a flyweight. We're going to put Kai Kara-France in the underratedly scary category. Because, look, Kai Kara-France, he might be 5'3" and weigh 100 pounds, but listen, he is pretty scary. Okay, so I know people love to say when he does the little tongue thing when he cuts his neck or whatever, when he does that at the face-offs and stuff, people love to say oh, that's just that's his culture thing, that's what he does for his culture, it's the Maori way. I know, I understand it's that, but listen, it's still scary, and it's still cringy a bit. So that's why he's in the underratedly scary thing, because a lot of people look at it as cringy, and it kind of makes them mad, because, it's like, this kid's being a cringe ball. He's being cringe. But listen, it is kind of underratedly scary, especially when you look at him like he's a pipsqueak, right? He's a pipsqueak, and the other guy who he's facing off with is a pipsqueak. So... you could tell that maybe a guy like Steve Erceg, he might see that and he'll be like, what the hell, what's wrong with this guy? He has a couple screws loose in him, So I'm gonna put him in the underratedly scary tier, especially because he's a small guy, so he's able to spook you off, right? I'm sure if a normal person saw this guy doing that, they'd be maybe freaked out. If they didn't know he was a fighter, they'd be a little freaked out. They'd maybe turn the other way, and they'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this little goblin, right? And speaking of, flyweights, we're going to put somebody in the he's harmless tier. And it is it is Steve Erceg, right? Because Steve Erceg, he's harmless. This guy, you look at him, you wouldn't even guess this guy's a fighter. I mean, he's harmless. He's harmless. Who is this guy? I mean, this guy, what is he? I mean, it must be like the local gas station clerk or something. Because, look, he's harmless. He's harmless. This is the perfect category for him because you wouldn't even guess this guy's a fighter. I mean, you'd hear this guy fought for a world championship and, he had a very competitive fight with Pantoja. You'd go, this guy, he fights? What do you mean? Who is it? Where is he? Is the guy behind him? Because look, Steve Erceg, even when he speaks, I hate to say it because I love Steve Erceg. When Kai Kara-France knocked out Steve Erceg, which also Kai Kara-France being able to knock out so many people at flyweight even makes him scarier. But listen, when he knocked out Steve Erceg, I became a little depressed and I don't care about flyweight anymore because I only cared about Steve Erceg because even though he's harmless and he's not scary, he was the best flyweight there, and he was the guy who was making me, I was like, oh, it's Steve Erceg, he's a funny guy, he's a cool guy, and I'm going to root for him. But now flyweight's dead, and I don't care about flyweight. But let's move on to another guy in the underratedly scary tier. I'm going to move my cam. In the underratedly scary tier, we got Johnny Walker, okay? Because Johnny Walker, this guy looks like a Neanderthal, and he also, when he does his, his freaky faces, he's scary, okay? You can't tell me if you didn't know that this guy's getting, he's getting knocked out in the goofiest fashion, and he's actually a goofball deep down inside. You'd think, holy fuck, what the hell is wrong with this guy? This guy's a creep. This guy's, I mean, what is wrong with this guy? Like a normal person walking down the street. No, I'm sorry. Wait, he might not even be underratedly scary. He might belong in the scary tier, and I'm justifying it because I'm sorry, but if you're a regular guy and you don't watch fighting sports and you see this guy who's, what is he, 6'5" or something? Maybe I'm over exaggerating. Maybe I'm under exaggerating or maybe I'm over exaggerating. I'm gonna say he's 6'5". He literally looks like a caveman, like a Neanderthal, and he looks like he's not fully there. He looks like he's a little, he's got a couple screws loose in his head. He belongs in the scary tier, okay? Just, you gotta put away the fact that he's getting knocked out in goofy fashion, and he's a goofball. You gotta put that away, and you gotta think, this guy is kind of fucking scary, because he's a genetic freak, and he's able to, if he plays into it with the, the creepy smile and all that stuff, he is scary, okay? So I'm gonna put him in the scary tier, and we're gonna put our first person in the blood-curdling tier, and this, I already know people are going to disagree with this, but listen, it's my list. It's my list, so I don't care. And in my eyes, this is going to sound stupid, but he is the scariest fighter in the UFC, actively. And I got this picture of him specifically because I think it's going to, it's going to justify it a little more to those who don't see it. Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett. I'm putting Josh Emmett in the blood-curdling. I'm putting him in the blood-curdling tier, okay? I know Josh Emmett isn't like Mr. Champion, so there's not, in the octagon. Actually, no, fuck that. Fuck that. In the octagon, this guy's even scarier. Because, listen, I used to look at this guy like he's genuinely like a goblin. He's kind of scary looking. He's, this guy's genuinely kind of scary. And look at this picture. When he cut weight, that freaked me out even more because he genuinely proved to me this guy, he looks like some sort of mythological demon fairy tale story. My neighbor decided to start cutting grass when I'm recording a video, so that's awesome. But listen, back to what I was saying. He's borderline like blood curdling, bro. Like, he looks like some mythological villain creature, fairy tale thing that would be hidden in the forest. People say he looks like, I don't know if they say he looks like a goblin. I've heard him, they've said he looks freaky, okay? He looks freaky. He doesn't look like, Mr. Friendly, right? Maybe, I don't know who would see him and say, this guy looks friendly, he looks like a caring soul. I'm sure he could be, but he gives me the vibes of borderline like he's scary. He's scary. Like, this guy goes home and he starts cutting up people. I don't know why I get that vibe from him. And also, to add to it, the thing that solidified him as the scariest fighter in the UFC for me was the knockout over Bryce Mitchell. Because when this guy knocked out Bryce Mitchell, it wasn't a knockout where it's like, an Ilia Topuria like flatline, right? Like a flatline, which is badass, and he's just sleeping sound. It was, Bryce Mitchell's toes curling up and it fucking spazzing out on the octagon. And for a second, I was like, is Bryce Mitchell ever going to be able to fight again? Is this guy good? And we haven't seen him fight since then, so maybe he's not good. But listen, Josh Emmett, after that knockout, was solidified as the scariest fighter in the UFC for me. And I think most people, if they look at it, he's genuinely kind of creepy to look at. And he's scary, okay? He's scary. I know he's short, so maybe that's taking away from him. But I genuinely think he is scary looking, and he's a scary fighter. So I'm putting him there. Let's move another guy to the try-hard list, Jon Bones Jones. Because, Jon Jones, people will say, they'll say, he's the bad guy trying to play a good guy. When in reality, sure, he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag. He's done terrible things, but he's also trying to play that villain, right? So you can say, I'm trying to play a good guy, but he's also trying to play a villain. You can't lie. He's trying to, look scary in the octagon and do this scary stuff, and, I just go in there to kill. I'm a killer. But I'm sorry. Deep down, I know he's a bad guy, but that's what he is. He's a bad guy. He's not a scary guy, and he does, deep down, he's a very zesty guy. That's what I should say. He's a very zesty guy. So that kind of takes away from it. And especially the modern version of Jon Jones that we're seeing. I don't really know how you could put him I don't know how people, I'm sure there's going to be the Jones fans who, actually no, I'm not even sure if there's going to be the Jones fans who say that he's scary, because at this point, I feel like if I didn't even include Jones in this list, people wouldn't care, because he's genuinely not that scary anymore. Nobody really finds this guy scary anymore if he's ducking from Tom Aspinall. I'm sorry, he's not that scary. Let's move on to somebody else in the scary tier. We got Khabib. I know Khabib's retired, but listen, I'm putting Khabib in the scary tier because this guy, this is the picture similar to Josh Emmett. This is the picture that, it freaks me out. It freaks me out to look at when he's like weight drained and he's cutting weight and he's saying, send me a location, send me a location, brother. That is the moment that, Khabib became scary to me, okay? He became a little scary, and I'm sure, you could be one of these guys who's saying, his performances in the octagon, they scared the crap out of me, man. This guy would go in there, and he would not let you get up, and he would just beat you to a pulp. Sure, that's scary. That is scary, but is it as scary as Josh Emmett knocking you out cold and having you twitch on the ground? Is it that scary? Is it as scary as that? No, not in my eyes. Not in my eyes. So, he's scary. He's about on the same level as a guy like Alex Pereira, but we've seen too many little things with like DC where he's chopping it up with DC. He's kind of getting a laugh in with DC that we can't put him in the the blood curdling category or anything like that. So we're gonna have him in the scary category, and we're gonna throw our last guy. This is our last guy here, and I just realized I was gonna put him in the blood curdling category, but I don't think he belongs there. I think I can't justify putting him there, and it is. Listen, I know this guy's retired. Well, is he retired? Is he retired, or is he fighting in Bellator or PFL now? We got Yoel Romero. I wanted to put him in the blood curdling category, but I don't think I can. I don't think I rightfully can. He'd be the closest thing to blood curdling. But we're gonna put him at scary because, listen, we've seen too many moments where he's being a funny guy, and he's speaking in Spanish with Joey Diaz on the Joe Rogan podcast, that I don't think I could put him in the blood curdling category, despite the fact that this guy has a couple screws loose in him, and he's barking up, he's like ground and pounding you, and he has a smile on his face. Okay, maybe I should put him in the blood curdling. I'm trying to think, like, if a normal person saw this guy. No, I'm putting him in the blood curdling because I gotta think about it. Like, if a normal person saw this guy, would they be scared? Like, would they be scared? They'd say, this guy's, something's wrong with this guy. And then they'd see, him barking up and, all this stuff. They'd think, this guy, okay, definitely something wrong with him. He's kind of scary, right? They'd probably walk the other way, right? I think we're going to put him there, but I do have to say this. He doesn't compare to Josh Emmett in my eyes, and I hate to say it. He doesn't. I genuinely think Josh Emmett's the scariest guy in the UFC, and people might disagree with that, but I'm sorry. I can't. He's the reason I made this video, because I thought, who's scary? Well, Josh Emmett's fucking scary as shit, and then I had to go through, and I had to look, okay, he's try hard, but listen, that's it for the video. I hope you guys like this. I wanted to make something in theme with the spooky season here. And this was actually harder to think of than you would think. Because at first you'd think, well, obviously, there's a lot of scary guys in the UFC. But then you go and you think, is he scary? I mean, we've seen him do this before. We know he's a good guy. Like you know this guy's a good guy. Like, yeah, I mean, he's not that scary. So it was hard to do, and that's why I had to go to like guys like Yoel Romero, because I hate. I'm not the guy to go back to the glory days and try and pull somebody from the glory days. That's why I don't have like fucking, I don't even know, Wanderlei Silva in here. I don't have him in here because we're not going to the glory days, okay? But I did have to dig a little deep. I had to pull out the Yoel Romero and the Khabibs to add to the list. But let me know who you think is somebody scary that I didn't add to the list, or who you think, in your eyes, is the scariest UFC fighter. And that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one. Peace.